Brilliant. Being recorded. Hello, everybody watching this or listening to this at whatever time zone or time of day you're watching this. I'm always really grateful when people take the time to listen, watch, learn, and I love it when you leave comments or send me messages about your takeaways and what you learned. So it's Wednesday evening here. Just adjust my phone slightly and my webcam slightly. So today's live stream video class, I feel like I say every single topic is close to my heart because I don't tend to talk about things that aren't close to my heart. And one of the many topics close to my heart is vulvas. Talking about vulvas, working with vulvas, getting people who have vulvas, whether they are women or non-binary folk, or people who love people with vulvas, to celebrate the vulva more. So much so, I often like to wear vulvas. This is my little vulva necklace that I like to wear. It's back to front. I have a vulva face covering. I have all sorts of vulva things, and I know that many of you watching this are also fans of the vulva, so to speak. And I wanted to talk more into why loving your vulva and or healing your relationship with your vulva, if you are somebody with a vulva, and also if you're somebody with a penis, why healing your relationship with your penis is going to be one of the keys to sexual confidence. So during this stream or live stream, I'll be talking about the vulva. I may talk about the vagina. I may even say pussy. I may even use the C word, depending on how much the Facebook or Instagram censors decide to punish me or not. So before I continue, I'm just going to take a breath so that I make sure that I keep my speech not too fast and rushed. Often when I'm really passionate and excited about something, I tend to speak very, very fast. Okay. Various things clicking in my body. Whenever I show up with my clients or showing up for group programs, and when I'm showing up for live streams and videos, I try to be as regulated as I can be. Obviously, there's no such thing as being perfectly calm and regulated, but I'm aware that doing any kind of video can provoke a lot of activation for me. So let me move my phone, check any comments here. Facebook's being slow. If you're watching this live, do drop me a comment. I would love to see you, your comment, see your face, whatever. So, the vulva. I feel like I'm very spoiled living in Brighton. I often say that Brighton is a bubble because Brighton is a very sex positive, or more sex positive city than maybe other cities in the UK or around the world. And I'm very fortunate and lucky that I tend to surround myself with more progressive, sex positive folk. So every time I wear my vulva necklace or I talk about vulvas, usually the response is, yeah, awesome. Oh, that's awesome. We love vulvas. We want to celebrate the vulva. And I forget that that is a bubble at times. And I forget that for many people, vulvas and vaginas are still something that feels very activating. I have met so many women and people when I've been teaching live, when teaching live was a thing at festivals and workshops, or even gotten into conversations with people, many women and people with vulvas, or just people who still couldn't say the word vagina without going red in the face, without feeling uncomfortable, without stuttering, without using euphemisms like my down bit. And saying the word vagina out loud still felt very activating for them. And I also know that there are many other people who it's almost like a dirty word. And we have to remember that none of us come from a sex affirming culture, let alone a culture that really celebrates vulvas in a way that's not necessarily pornographic or explicit. It's something that seems to be universal around most of the world, where vulvas and vaginas are still something really dirty. And as a little anecdote, and this is an anecdote, I can't verify this as fact, but me and my partner were watching, what was it? a travel show with Simon Reeve on the BBC a few nights ago. My partner loves travel shows, and it's nice to watch travel shows, especially now because we can't travel that much. And he was in Morocco, and I think he was in Morocco or Mauritania, and he was on a train with a man who was the guide there. And there was this joke that there was a certain word, I can't remember, that in their language meant vagina. And what I thought was really strange and poignant and touching was the man was saying the family part of woman. And he was saying it kind of feeling embarrassed. And it's really common that actually words for vagina, vulva, cunt, are usually swear words or profanities in most languages. Language matters. How we talk about things matters. How we feel about language matters. So if in your language, like in English, for example, cunt is meant to be the worst word in the English language, and yet it is to describe a woman's vulva. What impression is that giving us when we're using the word vulva or anything that describes a vagina as a swear word or a dirty word? How does that make you feel about your own genitals? You may not think will make a connection, but there is a massive connection there. And remember that you must have had many experiences growing up where you were, if you were a woman or if you were brought up as a girl, where your mother or somebody told you to close your legs, to not touch yourself there, to cover yourself up, whether you were in changing rooms, whether you were in any place where it involved getting undressed or wearing a dress or a skirt, there would always be a lot of commotion around, cover yourself up. Oh, no, no. This part is very bad, it's very wrong. Maybe you even grew up in a household where girls' and women's underwear was washed completely separately from everybody else's clothes, even though boys' underwear was washed with everybody else's. There is so much cultural stigma in many cultures, not just British culture, to varying degrees, that a vulva or a vagina is dirty, ugly, smelly, just bleh, fishy, flappy, all of those words. And also remember that there's a big in feminine health and feminine hygiene products. It's only recently that women's health or menstruation products are actually named what they are rather than hidden off in some aisle. But there are so many companies that are making washes to disguise vaginal odor or to make your pussy smell like strawberries. And there are so many ways, and if we really think about all the ways in which, all the little not microaggressions, but little ways in which you have learned to think of your vulva as something dirty, bad, smelly, disgusting. And I'm aware also as sitting here that I'm wearing a short dress because I really like it and it's summer. And there's that kind of concern, well, I've got to be careful I don't show you down below. Obviously, partly for Facebook and Instagram censorship. But again, even for me as a sexuality professional, there's still that, oh, I can't do this. I've got to be careful I don't show my vulva. I've got to be careful I keep my legs closed and cover things up. And it doesn't mean that any of us should suddenly decide to cast everything off. It's just being aware of the culture and the sensitivities that are around us. That if you are socialized to, and of the world you live in, and the culture you come from, and all the different soups that we come from, the cultural soup we come from when we swim in, is telling you that your vulva is dirty, smelly, ugly, disgusting, bad, sinful, then how is that going to make you feel about it? So I'm curious if there's any comments so far, if this resonates with you at all. Was this your experience? Maybe your mum or somebody in your family or multiple people in your family were telling you that vulvas and vaginas are disgusting or wrong or smelly. I still remember in high school, which was about 16 years ago. I feel old, I'm only 32. Where there was a thing where vaginas smell like fish. And that wasn't that long ago. So if you are feeling uncomfortable with your vulva and vagina, or maybe you're not even aware of it, it's really important to know that it's not an accident. It's not that you're weird. It's kind of meant to be that way. And also, if you're a man watching this or somebody with a penis watching this, you may feel similar. It can be this thing of, well, if you're a man You should be, if you're a man, you should want to be with women and want to fuck women, even if you're not attracted to women. And there's this thing where you should really love vulvas and vaginas and pussies, but yet also this paradox of disgust and, well, I should want to go in there, I should really enjoy that, and also that disgust as well. And also men and people with penises, there's often a lot of ambiguity and disgust and shame around your own penises. As a society, the world is made of different societies, but as a human population, most of us were brought up to and live in cultures and still have hang-ups around our genitals. Our relationship with our genitals is usually one of shame, of disgust, of discomfort, of trying to make our genitals do the things and them not behaving. So remember that. If you're still feeling weird and uncomfortable about your vulva or your penis, you're not alone. And it's kind of meant to be that way if we think about all the messages we've received. So let me just check my browser, check that. Brilliant. It's really tricky doing this in multiple places at once. I'm going to move my phone there. Okay, brilliant. Trying to do a live stream from 2 different devices. I really hope this works okay. I really hope this works okay. So, if you're watching this and you have a vulva, really think about and feel into, how do you really feel about your vulva? Do you feel differently about your vulva than a year ago or a few years ago? And what degree of discomfort and shame is still there? Also remembering that for most women and people with vulvas, so many of us have had different traumas around our vulvas, whether it's non-consensual experiences and sexual assault, whether it's traumatic childbirth, whether it's all of the things that can go wrong with our bodies and our vulvas. It could be medical procedures. There are so many ways that women and people with vulvas are inadvertently told that our vulvas don't really belong to us. We live in a culture of non-consent, and that also absolutely exists in the medical world as well. I feel this is getting very heavy right now, but it's important to acknowledge this, that if you are feeling shame and discomfort around your vulva, it's really important to acknowledge the constellation in which you come from as women. And when I hang up, I'll put a little trigger warning on this as well. So understanding that, and also understanding that when we are talking about and working with our sexuality, even though sex and sexuality is absolutely not limited to your genitals and just to penetration, at the same time, how we feel about our genitals, and especially as I'm talking about vulvas, if you have a vulva, is really important in how you feel about yourself as a sexual being. On the most basic level, most of our sexual experiences have involved genitals, have involved our vulvas, whether we've been penetrated or had or received oral sex or manual sex or been masturbating. Generally, it's very genitally focused. So can you understand this paradox already? That we come from a culture and a world that stigmatizes us, stigmatizes vulvas, says how awful, smelly, disgusting, horrible they are. You know, if you in most public toilets, it's very common to see penises drawn, not as common at all to see vulvas drawn, unless you live in Brighton. And bridal shops and a lot of bridal showers, only until recently, mostly just did penis stuff, not a lot of vulva stuff. If you go to like a British seaside shop and like go to these novelty shops where they sell rock candy, you can get rock candy penises and boobs. Not often you get vulvas. So we come from that. But then also, most of our sexual experiences are genitally focused. Is it any surprise that you're feeling this discomfort and hang-ups and shame and this, why doesn't this feel better than it does? It's kind of a no-brainer when you really understand that. If we come from a place, I'm going to keep repeating this, if we come from a place, and I say a place is metaphorically, upbringing, culture, world we still live in, that demonizes vulvas and says how horrible they are, and yet most of your sexual experiences involve your vulva, is it any surprise that there's going to be disconcordance, there's going to be disconnect, there's going to be a feeling of shame, there could possibly be pain, there could possibly be other things that can happen. And maybe you can factor into that if you experience vulvar or vaginal pain or reproductive issues like endometriosis or polycystic ovary syndrome. Again, it all adds to this mystery and this emotional stuff that comes with our vulvas. So again, I'm normalizing your experience if this is what you've experienced, and why I really believe in working with vulvas and healing your relationship with your vulva if you have a vulva, or if you love somebody who has a vulva. So something also to consider when we are wanting to gain sexual confidence and feel more. The thing about sexual confidence, I want to clarify, it's not about faking it in the sense of faking confidence that you don't have, or trying to pretend you're feeling something you're not. There's a big misconception that sexual confidence can mean maybe acting like a porn star. Porn stars are wonderful, but it could be acting like a porn star, or feeling able to be really confident, throwing your clothes off, or being able to pin your partner down. But a lot of sexual confidence can also be that, do you feel okay to be authentic? Can you show authentic pleasure? Is there concordance in that you feel pleasure in your genitals, you feel pleasure in your body, and you are enjoying the experience? Much easier said than done, as you may have realized already. But it's almost like from the ground up. A lot of women and people with vulvas, and I'd probably say a lot of people as well, I describe this concept of like the energetic black hole. So I'm gesturing to my pelvis here. I don't know if you can see that. So I call the energetic black hole is like, you may be able to feel and have a lot of connection with lots of parts of your body. Maybe you've had lots of body work, you've had energy healing, maybe you do a lot of physical fitness, maybe you're a personal trainer, or maybe you're just really into your physical fitness. So you have a lot of awareness of your body. Maybe you are a devoted yogi and you do meditation and qigong. Maybe you're a dancer or an acrobat, or maybe you just have a lot of awareness of your body. And a lot of people don't even have that. But when it comes to your pelvis, anything below the belly button, for a lot of people, it's like no go, like Gandalf, thou shalt not pass. And there's often that complete numbness, disconnection. I can't even feel that place. You could feel it if you put your hands there, but there's that kind of So again, how is that going to impact how is that going to affect how you feel about sex, both with yourself and with your partner, and yourself as a sexual being, if you still cannot feel what is there or still feel uncomfortable about it? So one of the things that I really am so grateful for from my own sexology training, and from when I first started out into the sex world doing tantra workshops, was actually viewing my own vulva. It sounds simple, but it's not. Because so many women and people with vulvas have never really looked at their vulvas before. Or if they have, it was years ago, and it was usually within the context of something medical. Maybe something had gone wrong. Maybe you just had a baby. Maybe you were getting a bikini wax. Very few women, or not as many, have actually looked at their vulvas and looked at it with the context of not trying to get anything, not being goal oriented, but just looking. What's there? Admiring it. I think before I did my first ever tantra workshop, I probably had looked at my vulva, but I don't remember. And in this exercise, we were actually in threes and actually really looking at our vulvas in a gorgeous, beautiful mirror and talking through what we saw. And I've done very similar exercises in life sexology training and also by myself. And one of the things I remember from my first ever, one of the tantra workshops, is they recommended that I have my own little mirror to look at my vulva with. So this is a bit trippy. This is my mirror. This was actually my grandmother's mirror. She died before I was born, so I kind of like this ancestral feel. And it's really healing. If you've never done this before, especially in a health space, actually looking at your vulva as though it was for the first time, and for a lot of people it is for the first time, is going to be one of the most healing experiences you can have, because it's like you're putting a face to a name. For women and people with vulvas, remember that it's hidden. It's literally underneath the body. It's underneath. For men and people with penises, your penis is it's there to hand, it's something external. So actually seeing your vulva and actually looking at it, admiring the shape, admiring the draping of the lips, admiring the different skin color, admiring the way that your skin and the folds flap together, admiring where the hair grows. It's really important. It's so important. I see it as a form of soul retrieval. And this is kind of to paraphrase Peter Levine in his trauma healing work, and that trauma healing is soul retrieval. I see looking at your vulva and healing your relationship with your vulva as a form of soul retrieval, because you're reclaiming a lost part of your body. Of course, it's not physically lost, it was still attached, unless, of course, you've had very difficult surgery. But if you're not fully aware of it, if you've never looked at it, if you don't have a felt sense connection, then it may as well have not been attached. That was a clumsy way of saying this. It's about integrating it into the rest of your body and your experience. I often do, I have meditation that I give to my clients, women in my programs, called, I think I call it Hand, Heart, Vulva, or Vulva Womb. I didn't create this meditation, it comes from somatic sex education. And it's very simple in that you place one hand on your heart and one hand on your vulva, and you just feel that connection there. And in the meditation, I guide them through it. And so many women, when I've worked with them either as clients or in the group programs, a lot of them have said, it's just, I can feel it. I can actually feel it. And this was very much my own experience when I first started doing this. It was that feeling of, I can feel it. And it sounds really silly, but it's not, because it feels like you're integrated again. It feels like you've reclaimed the lost part of your body. And if you think about it, if most of your sexual experiences are vulva focused, or definitely involve the vagina or the vulva, but you can't really fully feel it, then how is that going to impact your enjoyment of sex, your experience of sex, your ability to ask for what you want? Probably not that much. There's an awesome sex educator called, this angle makes me look a bit strange, my belly's not interesting, my belly like this. Anyway, there's an awesome sex educator and colleague of mine called Laura Doe Harris. She happened to make this amazing vulva pillow called, well, I called it Velvet Vivian. It's an anatomically correct vulva pillow. Anyway, so she does this really awesome show called The Vaudeville of the Vulva, which is an educational and entertaining show about vulvas. And she said it's like having a Lamborghini in your garage. She says it with a very posh English accent because she's pretending to be a teacher at the University of Oxford. And she says, it's like having a Lamborghini in your garage, but only taking it around the block. But actually, in order to get it going, you need to know how it works so you can make it purr and hum and take it around. It's the idea that for a lot of people, women and people with vulvas, we have this powerhouse of pleasure and sensation and power and presence literally in our pants, but we don't know how to use it or when to use it or how to access it. So this is why understanding and healing your relationship with your vulva is really important and the foundation to sexual confidence and libido and yourself as a sexual being. One thing that I have often felt a kind of discomfort with when it comes to marketing my work, social media, all of the things which I really enjoy, is I don't like to do things by halves. I want you to have an amazing sex life and intimate life, and I want to help you increase your libido, and I want to help you feel good in your body. I want to help you if you're experiencing vulvar pain, and yet that's always the tip of the iceberg. There's so much that comes with healing our relationship with our sexuality, and it's not necessarily a one-stop shop. There are absolutely small things we can do. There are bits of education. There are small things we can do to have, I say small achievements or to fix things. But to really go deep and feel completely different about sex and sexuality, rather than trying to spice it up in the bedroom. Spice is wonderful, but you're not a curry. Rather than trying out different toys and lingerie without doing all the inner work, it's not quite the same. So if you're watching this live, I would love to hear any comments, any of your takeaways, if anything's really resonating with you, if something is like, yep. So if any of this is resonating with you and you are a woman or somebody with a vulva, and just so you know, if you're a new follower or somebody new to my content, I use this language deliberately. So I don't just say men and women, I say women and people with vulvas, because not everybody with a vulva, even if you were assigned female at birth, is a woman or identifies as a woman. So I'm very specific that I work with women and people with vulvas, which includes non-binary femmes. And also when I say men and people with penises, not everybody assigned male at birth is a man or identifies as a man. So if you want to work with me either one-to-one or in a group program, know that I will be using more gender inclusive language. Obviously, I tend to tailor it to the people I'm with, but I want to keep my spaces as safe as I can make them, always knowing that I'm always knowing that I'm gonna change. I'm gonna fuck up. I'm gonna make mistakes, doing what I can to make my spaces as inclusive as possible. So if you are a woman or someone with a vulva who really resonates with this is why I would really love you to come to Paint Your Vulva workshop. It is on August 13th, which is a few weeks' time. Dates and times are very arbitrary for me at the moment. And we're going to be making vulva art. So something I didn't include in this video is another really awesome thing that helped me in my own, I say my own healing journey, but in reclaiming my own sexuality and the joy and the power of it was artwork. So I did GCSE art. I really enjoyed it, but it was very long and hard. That's another story. But if you are watching this and you maybe are an art therapist or a practitioner who works with art, turn that off for a second, you will know how really powerful artwork is. I really hope this is working. Just got a message there. And also that art is fun. Maybe you're somebody who is an arty-farty artist and you really enjoy making art. Maybe you're very creative, or maybe you just have been doing therapy for years and have done a lot of healing work for years and you want a really fun way rather than doing more processing, more crying, more whatever. Processing and crying can be awesome, but we need joy. One of my friends, when I was talking to her yesterday, said we all need some joy right now. So we're going to be making art out of our vulvas. So just so you know, Paint Your Vulva, we're not actually going to be painting on the vulva. Please do not put paint or glitter on your vulva. That's not going to be very fun. But what we will be doing is we're going to be looking at our vulvas on our own. By the way, I'll preface, we'll be looking at our vulvas on our own and then making artwork. So also the workshop says Paint Your Vulva. You don't have to bring paint. You could just bring a pen and paper. You could bring your iPad. You could bring the back of a napkin and a pencil. You could bring your kids' crayons and their colouring book. You may want to tear it out afterwards. It's about creating artwork out of our vulvas. And then if you want to, you can show it off. It's a way of reclaiming your relationship with your body and your vulva and taking it back. So especially if you have had past traumatic experiences, and that is pretty much the whole population. And there are many different forms of trauma and stress, or basically ways that shut us off from our bodies and tell us that our bodies and our sexualities are not ours, or are wrong, or are dirty. If you want something fun and raucous and exciting and just giggly, come to Paint Your Vulva workshop. So one thing I will say is it will be online on Zoom. So you can attend from literally anywhere in the world. And there will be no nudity on camera. So how it will work is we will say hello on camera, we'll introduce ourselves, we'll say what we want to get out of it. I will do a brief Vulva 101. I'll give a little bit of pleasure-focused sex education with Velvet Vivian. And then when it comes to looking at our vulvas, everyone will go off camera. So you can either turn your camera off, move your device away, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then I'll be inviting us to look at our vulvas with a mirror. You will need to bring a mirror. You're going to need to look at your vulva, admire her or it, look at your glorious, fabulous flaps and anatomy, and then we'll have about half an hour to create art. And there is absolutely no artistic talent needed for this. It could be a stick drawing. It could be it could be something really abstract like Picasso. It could it could be anything you want. When I first made artwork out of my own vulva, I remember I drew it with pencil and then I covered it with glitter glue on the paper, not on my vulva itself. Please do not put anything on your vulva that is not water. And it was really fun. And I remember lots of other people doing all sorts of really weird and wonderful stuff to celebrate your genitals. So if this feels like fun for you, fun being the operative word, because I need fun, we all need fun and joy right now because of how heavy things still are. And also it's COVID safe because it's on Zoom. So, and you can attend from anywhere in the world. Register for Paint Your Vulva. So on Instagram, you need to hit the link in my bio. And on Facebook, I will put the links. And on YouTube, I will put the links. So to come, there are 4 different price points depending on what you can manage. There is the fee if you are on lower income or need to be supported, which is £16. The regular price is £20. If you want to support somebody else, I think it's £25. And if you want to support somebody else and receive the vulva meditation as well, it's £30. So, and it will be for 2 hours on August the 13th, 7 till 9 p.m. UK time, which is 8 till 10 p.m. European time. I know this off by heart by now. 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time and 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. I'm used to working in different time zones. I know them off by heart by now. If this feels like fun and excitement and you want some sisterhood and some giggles, because we will be giggling and laughing. There's a big misconception that working with sexuality or sexual healing or any kind of healing has to be very heavy. This is going to be light and fun. There may be room for activating emotions may come up for you, and you may also find that it's really fun. You may also find that you're laughing, that you're having some of the best fun you've had. Maybe I'd like to think that. Bring a drink, bring snacks, bring a glass of wine if that helps you to relax, but I ask that you stay sober and alert. Bring anything that helps you to relax and feel fun and to celebrate your fabulous vulva. One thing I forgot, we will also be doing some movement at the beginning as well, just to get into our bodies. Think of it as a kind of slumber party, but we're not sleeping, and it's early evening, and it's virtual. So, link in my bio on Instagram, link in the comments on Facebook. Any questions, drop me a PM. I'm really happy to answer any questions you have. And also let me know what you're taking away from this video, why loving your vulva is a key to sexual confidence. Maybe something's come up for you. Maybe you realise there's more work to be done. There's more to do. One final thought I want to leave you with is when we are learning to love our vulvas, often the best place to start, aside from actually looking at your own vulva, is to look for more representations of vulvas. On Instagram, there's so many really awesome vulva art accounts. There's more artwork and jewellery you can get about vulvas. Anything that helps you normalize vulvas and celebrate them as something glorious and fun and beautiful rather than smelly, itchy, sticky, stinky, whatever. So celebrate your vulva, and if you're a man or have a penis, celebrating your penis, celebrating all genitals. And I will stop this video now. Really hope this has worked. Right, there we go. So I'm going to end it on Instagram. Go. And I'm going to end this on Facebook. Go. Bye.